Welcome to Insight, with me, your host, Andile Sithole. And this week we're joined by a creative chameleon, a shapeshifter, a man who cannot be defined, refuses to be put into a box or any sort of label when it comes to creation. A man who is sometimes called a painter, sometimes called a muralist, sometimes called a fashion designer. But for him, it's all just flow. It's all just creation, and one thing can become another at any moment. I'm talking about the one and only Marcus Zvinavashe. I hope you enjoy today's episode as much as I enjoyed having it. My man.
What?
My man, we are here.
Finally.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for coming through today, man.
No. It's a pleasure's all mine.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You are someone who is making so many waves. And you know that someone's making waves when you pop into different places every now and then and you just see them. Or you hear the name and you get used to it without even realizing. You get me? And then when I started looking more into your work, I was like, man, you're so multidisciplinary. Because you're coordinating people to create murals, you're designing your own clothes, you have multiple brands going at once, you're just constantly going. You have this constant energy about you. What is that? Where did that come from? And first of all, energy doctor. Before I even get into there, I've been saying to myself, what is that? Where did that come from? What does that mean?
Okay, cool. So the name is Marcus Zvinavashe. That's what I go by. But the energy really is called the person, the being, who you get to experience in so many more other spaces really is called energy doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So energy doctor. For a moment I've always thought probably it's my outer ego, but I think it's the most expressive and the most ecstatic, the most optimistic, the most the most lit up, and by lit up I don't necessarily mean it in terms of having maybe taking any substances altogether. It's just like the energy as well that I've had to understand, and I had to understand also with the colleagues and with the brothers that I work with, that they've had to come forth and be like, yo, bro, like so much energy, And I remember, actually, like my brother Ole was just like, yo, bro, God, you're the energy doctor. And I was like, nah, it clicks, man, it clicks. Yeah. So it kind of really like just tied up all of the everything, I'm always really like hopeful that tomorrow is gonna be a beautiful and amazing day. It's gonna be. I walk with open spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm faithful that things are gonna work out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I might not know how it will. Mm-hmm. However, also I believe in pursuing and also finding my own expression in the different spaces that I'm part of, mm-hmm. and in the different work that I get to do, but also just in just me also being as well part of the family, mm-hmm. and part of the family is really big. The creative family, my family where I come from, right? Mm-hmm. And also the chosen family as well, that we've also, because we've gotten to work together, we've gotten to support each other through working towards the dream, mm-hmm. individually and collectively, and that's also family. So that's pretty much that. That's pretty much that as far as who Energy Doctor is, and that's how I found myself in the space.
Thank you so much. I was so curious. I was like, man, like it makes sense. Again, it clicks. It just clicks, and especially the way you promote yourself and the way you approach your work. Everything, whether it's on your statuses or whatever, it's constant positive reinforcement, positive energy. Was that always the way you saw things? Was it always, if a situation is tough or if I'm going through difficulty, I'm gonna be the one who uplifts those around me, or I'm gonna be the one who takes it on myself? Or is it something which, you know, maybe has developed as the alter ego has been born, where it's like, hey man, I don't want to do this, but Energy Doctor can, type thing?
I think I would say, yeah, I would say just growing up, I've always been, right, okay, background really. Growing up, even just within the classroom, I've always been the one with the kid sitting at the corner, the one who's the loudest, right? And always being called noisy. But it's just that sometimes when your energy is unusual, right, in that kind of space, and if you're always the one who seems, then you're like, you're there, you're getting trouble because you're always like vocal and everything, up until you harness that energy and be like, actually, there's nothing bad about it. So it took a lot of time really to come back to actually resonate with warm, not to come back to warm, to resonate with warm, that okay, this whole energy really is about, you know, failing to find the real ways. So you resonate with your energy that, okay, this is who I am. This is my being. I'm really natural and energetic and an outspoken individual. However, my aura has always been like, it is very positive, naturally, from the very onset. It's just that the more you then resonate and the more you then align with what home looks like and the more you resonate with who you are, it then aligns as well with who your purpose really is at. Because you know, so many more people sometimes will then want to say like, what is actually purpose? But sometimes purpose really also aligns with the aura and the energy that you bring in spaces. How even sometimes it's so easy if you walk in a space and you have a conversation with somebody, while you're speaking, also have the ability as well to listen so much, because the feedback that you're getting from the other person, if it's how you speak, and also you get back that energy. So it's really being in tune with yourself, but also being very attentive and sensitive to whatever that's happening. And in so doing, you're really catching it. You're really catching it, and then that's I think at the heart of things, that's really where it's at. And that sensitivity that really just allows you to then know what's okay. All right, I think I'm aligned here. All right, I'm aligned here.
The energy, like you say, is just like all over the place, and maybe you're a kid with so much energy, you don't know what to do with it, and then slowly you start to figure out your aura, your purpose, your understanding.
Exactly.
But that purpose, when did that become clear to you? When did it become, I've got all this energy, I'm doing all of these things, and you know, maybe being in an environment where you are a bit of an outcast, or where your opinion is very different, people don't necessarily understand it, it's very easy to get demoralized by that kind of thing. And also, nowadays, it's very much such that people feel like there's only one way to succeed, or there's only one avenue. Even within industries, it's okay, this is the standard, this is how you get things good, this is what you do. So when you have a different approach to doing things, especially in a place where the art community and the entire creative space is still on the growing, you know, they were still growing. How did you find your calling in this space when, for other people, it would be terrifying to lean into artistry, to lean into creativity? You know, because people are gonna be like, bruh, like that fit you were wearing, bruh. Also, let's pause. Let's pause. My guy. Always tripped out. I love it, man. Good stuff.
Right.
Knowing that you've been in a position where things don't look aligned, or where maybe you are aligned but you don't think you are because the world is telling you this is alignment.
Okay.
When did Marcus become?
I'll start with this. I'll start with home, right? Gratitude to home, right? Home being that all of my parental figures, right? The majority of them have been in the teaching space, right? My mom is a teacher, my dad is a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, my grandfather was a doctor, you know. So, and also they are also farmers, right? So there's what just coming from that background of farming and also teaching and also of healing. When I look at my my grandfather being a doctor, right, a medical doctor, and also growing up, it was never really a one way to go at things. I was never raised to be like, you gotta, you know, it wasn't. It was always like, what you want to do, right? So I cannot really then speak. I do understand how for most people it would be difficult because our parents would be like, what are you doing? And you know, when you grow up, I want you to be this. For me, I'll always be like, so what you want to do? At some point in time, I want to be a pilot. So what you want to do? I actually now want to be a journalist. Or what you want to do? Or I want to be. I would allow my imagination to be whatever it is, but then I was also supported in whoever I wanted to be, right? So it is also gradually all of that, you know, and then because you're allowed to be who you are, it then also along the way, now that when I look at it and I reflect, which means at some point in time I was given the rope and the power to really decide and to steer my own ship. So there are spaces where I failed in life and I learned from that. There are spaces where I did well in life and I learned from that. There are spaces where sometimes I stumbled into things and I learned from that. And all of those, from failure to stumbling to things to doing other things, all right, and then as well having a community as well. So that's why I said, like, I want to start from home. So you already have got parental figures like that. Even from all of those parental figures, I forgot also to share as well. I got like uncles who are also within the business, within the insurance, you know, space. So and also because you're allowed to flow with your own energy, right? Surely they might not understand you, but they are not saying, okay, do this.
They're not putting you in shackles.
They're not putting you in shackles. They're not putting you in a box. They're just saying, flow. Just be like water, right? Do what you gotta do.
Is that scary? Is it scary when someone trusts you that much? When someone says, hey, do your thing, go figure it out.
I would say it's really freeing. It's really freeing. That's why I even post now when I want to post whatever that I feel like today I want to post. It's not about, at some point in time I used to be like, oh, what will people think? But I was like, no. This is not how I was raised. I was raised really to speak my own mind, to walk my own walk, and to really understand that the ship that I'm steering here, that ship is mine, right? I do understand that I have it, but also there's a divinity, right? There's God, right? Steering everything in its utmost, in this utmost universe and world that actually I exist in, right? However, I do understand that there's also a certain jurisdiction that I have, that I've been given unto it. So while it's some added, and also if you come in from one way, if you do well, they celebrate you. If you also not do well, they'll be like, okay, cool, so what you want to do? Are you going to cry about it? Are you going to keep pushing? So literally then it allows you to see the world better. It allows to see the world better. So I can't really pinpoint and say becoming was at this certain point in time. I would say the journey has always been becoming. And even still today, as much as there'll be a lot of milestones that I look at it, I don't look at myself as that I have gotten there. It's still milestones. It's evolving. There's a version of me 10 years ago in my 20s, who right now in my 30s cannot relate. Right? There's a version of me right now in my 30s that I wish it could be, but I'm just understanding that all of it is evolution. There's certain things that happen in my 20s that I need as well to be grateful, and that I need as well to make home and space as memories, but also as guidelines that are also adding onto the dominoes that are actually falling in right now. So as long as I'm still alive, as long as I'm still alive and the light is still on, the dominoes even forward to the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still becoming.
You're still becoming.
I'm still becoming.
Still discovering.
Still discovering. There are certain new things right now that I'm still looking at right now. I'm just, okay, cool. I could still be in pursuit of this. And also what is weird, it's not multidisciplinary. Cause
So you wouldn't consider yourself multidisciplinary?
I'm anti-disciplinary.
Okay.
Right, I'm anti-discipline because disciplines have got certain principles that allow you to then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. However, if then it will be a discipline. My discipline will be flow, creation and expression. That'll be me.
There is no difference between art forms. It's all just expression.
It's just expression
in different ways.
It's expression, it's creation, and it's flow. So whatever energy that you have creating a mural, you can flow from there, go into fashion. You can flow from there, go into curating things. You can flow from there, go into being a voiceover artist. You can flow from there. At some point in time, acted. It's just flowing. It's just taking this energy, forming it, and then what can we do right now with this energy? Let's be in front of the screen. Oh, okay. Let's go behind the screen. Oh, okay. Let's formulate a picture with it. Oh, okay. Let's make it sonical. For me. That's what I'm interested in right now in my life. I'm interested in seeing what the very same source of energy can really create, and what the thread, if it were a picture, how the various versions or how the picture really looks like, but how it keeps on developing without you trying to feel like I need to.
Without trying to force it, without trying to decide that this is what this discipline is called. Discipline is called, and this is what this is called. This is what this is called.
So
it's
something like
it's all
my discipline will be flow.
Flow state.
It'll be a flow state. I want to always be like to always be malleable like water. That's my highest regard to life, is to always be in a state where I'm still able to feel things, I'm still able to do things, and I'm still able to be part and parcel of things, and I'm still able to say what is for me is for me, what is not for me is not for me, and not force anything, but also just to connect with everything, have touch points, have milestones, what is we working at it, understand it, flow with it, get to another state. I want, when I look at my fourth floor, to look at the third floor. When I'm assessing my third floor, my decade now in my 30s, when I'm at my 40s, to look at it and be like, okay, so much, it has to do so much with flowing, because I think the more you get rigid in life, you kind of, that's where a lot of challenges really be. The birth of so many challenges is also rigidity. That's how like my perspective when I look at life is like so much rigidness that allows, it's just
yeah. It causes more friction.
But if you then allow yourself to just flow, you figure things out, and you also have like there's so many more people that you meet, and that they will help you and that they will journey with you. But because what also rigidity does, rigidity doesn't begin and end with the physical posture. Mentally, you then have barriers. So which means also, if there are other people that are supposed to help you or to share conversations that are going to stimulate your mind, stimulate ideas that you then get to work with. If you're going to meet also other people that help you within achieving and executing, you can't do that when you're in a state of
rigidity.
Like that. And you're not walking with the arms open and understanding that, what I did last year that could have been dope. If somebody says that, no, it's actually not dope. This way, the ability to always have a growing perspective, not a different perspective. That's what I'd like to believe in. Always have a growing perspective. Yeah, because what you saw last year, which was also dope, it was dope at the time.
But that's not me now.
But
it's a new era.
It's a new era. It doesn't mean that you're gonna kill that thing and say it wasn't. There are certain other things that were dope then, other elements that you could still see within that perspective, in that mentality, in that thinking set, in that doing set, that you can also lift up over here, and then with a new perspective over here, put over here and understand that there's more space. So now, because there's that small space, you can then add on to other things, dilute, think about other things, expand it, constrict it, extend it, as further as it could go.
The work that you are doing now, it obviously started from one seed or one place and has now branched out into all of these areas of flow. I was going to ask you what was the first thing, but I guess I would even much rather just say, can you tell me about the brands, the multiple vehicles of expression that you have created? Because as much as, it's just flow, it does include a lot of intersection of flow. I don't even want to. That word is gone. I'm like in my mind. I'm like, okay, discipline, blah 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 blah. Like, channeling that energy into those different spaces. Can you tell me more about your brands? Can you tell me about?
Okay, cool. So one thing that I've always that I'm a constant believer of, and then, one thing that I'm a constant believer of, right? And this one thing really stems from one thing. Who we are at the center of it takes two. You get? You coming into the world. It took your mom and took your dad, right, to just make you. You get? And also for every other great idea in this lifetime, one thing that I've always, there's something it has to take, like collaboration. Right. So at the center of all of flow, really, for me, has always been like collaboration is really a key thing. So I would say at the heart of things, I would say one of the first brands that one of the first brands or one of the first seeds as well that has actively really done a lot within my own personal life, but also within the collective space of the work that we do. First and foremost, it will be Caligraph, right? At the heart of Caligraph, we are a mural, graffiti and creative art direction collective. Who our mandate really is how do we change, how do we influence, and how do we influence, reimagine what the public art space and the facet of what Harare, what Zimbabwe, what Africa, what the world could look like in our own storytelling. So that's what those are one of those key pillars that we do as far as public art is concerned. However, beyond just public art, it's just like also with that same mindset, how then do we then walk from that same mindset, get into set design, right? Get into curatorial experience, get into curation as well, get into fashion as well. So it's one of that. Then post that, then there is the Skin and Strobo Fabrik Party. And also, while I'll jump back to, so Caligraph is co-founded by me and also by my brother Nyasha Jeche. Then let's get into Fabrik Party, founded by Ulene Ogandobu, who we then co-curated with Nyasha Jeche, myself, and also Tando Mlambo. So what the Fabrik Party also then does is like it is a platform that then highlights and also platforms subcultures, emerging subcultures or subcultures that don't get mainstream highlight. Right. So when we talk about subculture, we talk about street art culture. We talk about skating. We talk about photography, videography, set designing, all of these subcultural genres that it then doesn't feel like when you look at the mainstream, you don't see them highlighted as in like
they're not at the forefront.
They're not at the forefront. It's like these are the things that make everything, they tie up everything together, but there is no way of how there isn't so far. Just looking at it. There wasn't a way of just then putting them and then saying like, okay, we are celebrating you, we are seeing you, this is this is that. right? So that's the Fabrik party, right? And currently, right now, it has grown. I think the past 5 years, it has grown now to have like a 3-day one called the convention, Fabrik Party Convention. This year, it's actually happening so October 26, 27. You can, save. You might as well
Save the date, save the date,
save the coins. Start creating those outfits. We can't wait to see yourself in your fullest expression. And also, it's a space as well for full expression as well when you come through, really, where you also get to interact with like minds that are doing so many amazing things within the industry. From models, designers, creators, people within the business spaces and different industry spaces as well. So yeah. And because of the Fabrik party, and also because I've always been naturally a passion profession altogether, it took me like a longer time. But this will be the day getting into 2025 this year. Last year I was able as well to then, highlight. It was my first highlight within the fashion space where I actually got to design a 12-piece collection called Ubusuku. Right, and the reasoning and the naming of why the first collection being called Usugu, it's embracing the process of slow creation, but also it's embracing a space of doing things unseen. Then at a certain point in time, when it is time, when let there be light, you then usher in what has been happening within your creative process without being pressured, literally. Because I've had to understand as well, sometimes when, especially in a space of flow, when you're also multitasking within the different disciplines altogether, you always have to allow yourself to flow and to give yourself time and energy to whatever is coming, and say, okay, cool, this is what's coming to me, this is what's hitting my mindset, my spirit set, my physical set, to say, okay, cool, what we want, or the inspiration that I've actually gotten is this, let me actually create this right now. And then you create that for that. So hence the Obusu collection to be created within a 2-year period, because that state of flow is like you're allowing yourself to feel it, and then you create with that when it's heightened, whenever that is heightened, you create it from there. And then also as well, having to have also a skilled seamstress that also helps you to reveal the vision, and to just, because that's that beauty when I'm talking about collaboration. You always have somebody that at the intersection of what you want to see it become and bloom as high as it becomes, right? There will always be somebody who will then help and guide you to do that. And also shout out to Stanley, because he helped me a lot into making and into helping all of everything to bring it all together. And that's the reason why as well in this conversation, like I keep also mentioning names, and I just want as well to give to everybody who I mention is like it's giving people their flowers. Because too many times we want to, when we are on the spotlight or we are on whichever space or whenever platforms, which I see sometimes with most creators, we then tend to shy away or to dim other people's lights
so that they can
that we can shine, and so that people think that we are the epitome in quotes. We are the epitome of what greatness, of what's so dope, of what all of these things may look like. But that's where we are actually shortchanging ourselves. Because for that energy that you have taken into a room by dimming somebody's light, you are actually dimming yourself. Because remember, it's the flow state is everything comes full circle, right? That's why when we sleep, we wake up the next day, it's morning, and when it's morning, it will also eventually come to afternoon also. In the very same way, they seed time and harvest, and every year we do that. So you have to be very sensitive with how, as you move into all of these different spaces, what are you seeing, what's happening, and then just allowing yourself to really just be like, okay, this is where it's at, right? Oh, by the way, I forgot an Art Pasa Pasa. Art Pasa Pasa is
Oh, don't worry. I was going to remind you. I was right there. I was like, bro. Yeah.
So there's Art Pasapasa, which is a street art exhibition. This is 2025. 2024 was second edition. 2023, that's when we took a hiatus. But it actually started in 2022.
Okay. So
Yeah.
2022, 2023 hiatus, 2024, and then
Second
2020,
edition.
and then 2025. There's going to be another one.
Yeah, 2025. We are actually also having a third edition. Last year was a combination of the second edition, which was a beautiful and amazing creation. So Art Pasapasa is founded by Caligraph. Right, so that's also a medium and a state of actually also expression, because as much as we do murals in and around the country and in different spaces, we are showcasing all of the work, but we wanted to get to a space also of, so many beautiful, amazing work is housed into galleries, but also like how are people, so it then also feels like art is an elitist thing when it is housed in all of these spaces, and is
In
not
restricted
allowed
spaces.
in restricted places, and it's not allowed to flow within the outer spaces. We have been doing that through the mural and everything. So it was also like, how then do we come back, or do we give back to the spaces as well that we are coming from, but as well encouraging the next creators, which are like, for the kids, bro. Like they gotta see it and understand that, it can be done. So the first edition was done like in Budiriro. Second edition was also done in Budiriro, but also it's like the majority of also all of these institutions are literally within, the majority of them, they're within the northern part of Harare, not the southern part of Harare. Because if you look at the ratio of the institutions that are also, you will recognize that the majority of they're actually on the northern part of Harare. So like, cool, let's actually have something that we bring into the southern side of Harare. Just one as well, and also to have that cross-pollination, but also domestic tourism as well happen. So if you're from the north, you can come all the way
To the
down
south,
south,
yeah.
and actually check
And it's a different culture
and
in
it's a
different regions,
culture,
for
different
sure.
region, different
sure.
experiences, and also seeing all of these things that are happening. And last year's exhibition was a combination of Caligraph producing 10 works, and also having 10 artists as well produce also an individual work. We had Diana Mhlaba, Rorisang, Kundai, Nkosi, William, Chinotenda, Chivinge, who else? PNG, African Cars. I'm forgetting the name, but I had to actually call you with your brand name, like on IG. Who else did we have? With Marcus as well. We had Anna, Carolina Cortez.
You in third person or another Marcus?
Another Marcus.
Okay.
Marcus. Who else? We had Revan Spine Photography, Maxo Chimbeti. Did I forget somebody? Let me look, I'm thinking. Because I want really to then mention everybody who, because
To get their credit.
to get the credit, and also the board of the work that we created as Caligraph, the portraiture that we had done. Also, we had also collaborated with Lennox, the photographer, such an amazing photographer altogether. So we know it was that's that collaborative effort and that spirit as well. And if I had ever forgotten somebody within the artist that please forgive me. It wasn't an intention at all. And still flowers too.
Yeah, we can add them. We can definitely give them the shout out.
Exactly. So it's that, and so it's still just flowing to all of these different spaces without saying, okay, cool, now I'm in this discipline, that discipline. It's a continuous state of flow from curating things, creating things within a visual aesthetic, within a fabric aesthetic, within an experiential aesthetic. It's all of that, and that's also the beauty of life. The beauty of life is also that's why we've got a multi-sensory experience. We see, we hear, we taste, we hopefully someday we'll also have a pilot experience from Taste a lot, just to expand what that flow state really would look like, and also how it's able as well to really connect with all of your senses.
And can you tell me about, you have a wonderful fashion brand, which you haven't dived into. You talked about the collection, the Umusuku collection.
Icatha.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
So with Icatha right now, as I say, still in the state of flow, it's an experiential brand really, where we want really to be in the intersection of having a unisex line that both male and female can both experience, but also can then also just when you walk into the world, right? We feel like because of the clothes that we wear, somehow you've got, it's an armor of some sort. So we want to, in short, if Icatha was a uniform, we want to create a uniform that then can and capture somebody's personal experience, but also give them a flair to life.
Do you do, what's the word? Do you do individual pieces for people, or is it collections and that's how it goes?
So far, we're still exploring how we will go about it. We're hoping that this year, probably this year, we might work with a ready-to-wear line, because the post, we want to be dropping collections, right? But post also just doing those collections, see how the body of the work that we do as a collection, how can it also get into the film space? Because the work, when you look at the work, it can also be costume wear for different things within the film space. So that's beyond just looking at it from that, is like, okay, cool, how then also from just, instead of creating something that feels like it's conceptual, it's over there, how then do we then also move into a ready-to-wear collection that still has that feeling,
that same feeling, conceptual, but
but also be very intentional about, you can still look good and we capture the same essence of what Icatha means.
Which is?
Okay. All right. Because with Icatha, what we want to do is like, how do you get to your fullest expression in such an elegant and a very chic way? Right. So it's really capturing that, because one thing that we have to recognize is like over time, as you look at even how you evolve in terms of dress code, there's a certain time where you want to look sleek, chic, clean, trimmed, tapered, tailored. So that's the more look that we wanna go for, and over time, even when you just look at the history of just fashion and everything, the tailored aesthetic really has always been like such a great look within the 60s and everything, and also we just also tap into that into that experience and into that rich history, and that's what we want also, like the Icatha, somebody, because at Icatha really we look at whoever then just wears the piece as part of the family. This is how, when you get to work with us as part of the family, this is the look and the feel and the aesthetic that we want you to carry into the world, and for people to look at things and be like, wow. So
you feel it, you know
it. So we also, hence even with our collection, we had to use like a honeycomb textured material, which we contrasted it with lace, we contrasted it with like snake skin detailing, because we want you to still, it's all black, but all zipper detailing. We want for somebody, when they look at something, they look at it, but then they'll be just like, why, what's happening with the zippers, or
that
what's
little
happening
detail,
with those little, however those little details are so intentional, because we are really taking into, for all of those little details that we are really putting in, there's also stories into it, and we also can't wait really to just really then have like maybe a book someday of what our story really looks like within Icatha, what it means, and what all of those different motifs, detailing, choice of material, what it means, why we chose that, why we're being intentional about that, because every little thing really is very intentional. It is not just for the sake of it being cool, or it's not just for the sake of tailoring looks like this. It's really we are really storytelling, and you're really part of that storytelling. To whoever then says that I want this done, I want this too. I really look at this and I really resonate with that. So we are not really just thinking about we want to be mass. We're really thinking about we just want to be intentional and want to have a family that really seeks it, understands it, lives into it, but also aligns with the core of who they are. Without just like, okay, this is mass market, we can do this, we can do 100,000 shares, let's put them outside. Why can't we just do it, instead of 100,000 shares, let's just do like maybe 300 shares. But for those 300 people that will get it, they align with it, and then they are part of the family, they support us.
Yeah.
See us, and
It's so interesting because we were talking about purpose earlier, and so much of purpose is found in someone's unique identity. So your purpose, even if we're in the same space, is going to be slightly different. And identity is so greatly amplified by what you're wearing, by your choice of your clothing. It's almost like, you called it an armor, it's almost like your superhero outfit for the day. It's your decision.
Yeah.
So when you start to redefine, what is the style of this generation? What is the style of the people that are moving around in these communities? How do we completely change the way that people interface with fashion, with clothing? Because if you go outside now and you look around, you'll see people in standard clothes. You don't see as much of the chic, slick, like a classy look, I think. And it needs people to say, hey, because the thing is, like, some people don't want to be overdressed, right? It's like, no, dress up, like, get into it, do the thing. Because it's a unique expression. It's a very unique form of expression. And with the murals, because obviously you've just run through absolutely everything. With the murals, are there any pieces which you would say are the most impactful, not just for you personally, like how it made you feel, what the process was like, but also when you created it, and with Art Pasa Pasa as well, right? So general murals for Caligraph, and then the specific to Art Pasa Pasa gallery expressions, and then even also the Fabrik parties. You said there's been 3 Fabrik parties.
No. I say to date, as far as conventions are concerned, we have done, let's say, okay, the first one, the second one. I think we've done 2 conventions. This one will be our 3rd one. But as far as Fabrik parties are concerned, we are way past.
Constantly.
We're constant. We're way past the number 10 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So within all of those various spaces, are there any pieces in particular which you found had an impact on people? Like, obviously all of it is meant to impact people because that's artistic expression. But were there any specific pieces where you saw, Kuti, wow, that actually made a change in this community by having those murals there? For example, with the Art Pasa Pasa, it's like so, I saw what it looks like, right? I haven't been there physically, but it's all of these like blocks, like for such a long line, rows, and I saw this video and it's a drone, I think, and it's coming out and it just keeps getting more and more and more. First of all, are those permanent fixtures where they come and they move?
It's a pop-up exhibition.
It's a pop-up exhibition.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pop-up exhibition because ultimately we also can't close the road, because the road is actually, the road is for the people. So when we are allowed as well to have expression happen for a day or for a certain time period, we then also take that into cognizance. And then more than that, daily life also has to come back into what is the state of the flow of what the space and the road is created for. Needs as well to always be there, because the moment then we then say this is now a permanent collection that happens and stays there. What we've then done is also, in terms of flow, what we've done,
made it rigid.
We've been rigid about
Again.
it. So we have to always be cognizant and be sensitive about everything altogether. coming to the question that you just asked, I'll say like there've been so many. I also want to say that with every mural created, with every art pasa exhibition curated, with every Fabrik party that has happened and co-curated, with the fashion experience that people have seen, with the sonical experience that is what people have seen, of also, of the different musical genres that you could actually hear, and also other subculture genres that also you can hear. I'll say it's really a unique experience. I'll say it's the feedback that when somebody reaches out to you, or even when somebody sees the body of the work and be like, really, this spoke to me. When somebody say, this is the reason why I then started on my creative journey, or somebody say, you don't know what this did to my child. When they saw this, they really were like, I can't really pinpoint one, because it is so interwoven for you trying to pick one thread and say, this, I feel like there'll definitely be milestones, right? I'll say like definitely be a milestone, like obviously having your first biggest mural as well, having your first biggest crowd. But we can't talk about the first biggest crowd at the Fabrik party or at the art pasa being a thing, or having your first biggest curation, or we can't talk about all of these other things and then neglect that, the first 28 people that were there when the Fabrik party happened, when all of everybody that was within that room or within that space could actually understand and actually could relate with each other, and we could have and we could see each other. It's now different. When now it's 300, it's now 700, it's now 600, it's now over 1,000 people going there, right? It's all different. There's a way when there was just a few brands that were starting out with just a few pieces, and now when somebody has a full collection, we've had to have somebody, a designer, have over 50 plus outfits as a runway collection. So you see all of that, and you're like, wow. So you can't. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you can't pinpoint the exact situation. But so
because you also do not know what that did to that designer and how.
Yeah.
But you see the growth happening for them, and you're like, shut up. If what we did and what we collectively, or what this platform really did, and when they actually showcase and this helped them be here, we're grateful. We're thankful.
Grateful.
You get. And when that mural, when the kids saw it, or when came in at Pasa, or for the people that experienced the Icatha, the debut of it, and seeing how it all aligned, and for them being like, wow, I didn't understand that you also create clothes and it could look like this. This is how I felt. And that feedback, all of it is so, it's sometimes you wake up and you're like, am I out of my depth? Because you're like, all of this is just, it can be overwhelming. Hyper stimulating also at the same time, in terms of like your sensory sense, like, wow, am I living part of a dream, or am I, because at some point in time we gotta step out of all of it and then just try and look and be like, and then also because it is really so soulful doing this work.
And it goes far beyond you.
It's
you get the idea from source, from God, and you are a vessel that's making it happen. Once it's been expressed, it's actually no longer yours anymore.
Exactly.
It's for the world to communicate with. It's for, like you said, someone who's watching a collection, a runway show, or someone who's seeing a mural, someone who is wearing the clothes.
Exactly.
You don't know how it's making them feel. You don't know.
Probably they're walking around, somebody like, you're looking exquisite.
And that feeling of knowing that.
And probably they've never had somebody maybe explain them and how when they look at the mirror. And
like bro, I feel fresh. Bro, I feel fresh.
And they're like, you're looking exquisite. They'll be like, I know the word is fresh for me, but they just say exquisite. Like, I can't explain how that feels. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it really does feel like sometimes you're really out of a depth, but you're out of a depth. However, we're grateful for life. We're grateful that we get to wake up every day, walk into this body of work. And also, believe you me, there are other days as well you don't want to wake up and actually get at it because you also feel tired. However, you keep showing up every day. And on the days when you don't have energy and you do 10% out of 100, you still celebrate and you still hold water for yourself that I've been able today to show up and do this. And on the day that you do 100 or you do like 300%, you got so much energy and you pull out for everything. We're grateful for that too. You know, ultimately, we're flowing, we're learning, we're understanding, you know, we are receiving it, we are also sharing and giving back to it, you know. And up until the actually last dim, you know, we'll keep flowing.
Keep flowing. Man, what would you say to your younger self if you could go back and talk to him? Some people will say, if you could give 5 words or whatever, but I mean, if there were to be an actual sit-down conversation, but you had one key point to really give to them, because I think there are people who will watch this and they will see the vehicle of the art that they've seen in the world and realize, okay, that's a person who's behind all of this amazing work. There's something going on and I can learn from this person. By watching you, I can learn, I can grow, and I can make a change of my own. And for me, what you're doing is really that. You're in the space of inspiring people. Your business is creating more expression. Because if you create one thing, suddenly everyone else is doing stuff. So you're gonna have a whole bunch of people who are emulating that exquisite fashion that you put out. There will be people who will say to themselves like, okay, well, like even for myself, for example, I have no idea how to get a mural project going. I don't know who to collect, who to call. I don't know how to find the locations. I don't know from A to B to Z. I don't know anything. There's gonna be someone who's watching as well who has no idea, and it might click for them. That's what I want to do, or I want to be a designer. Or so, what would you say to your past self, or someone who's young and just listening to you? What would you tell them to encourage them to find their purpose?
All right, I'll say really, stay curious, hold water for yourself and for that curiosity, hold water for your imagination. It is as real as it is, because everything that we are experiencing to present date in this world was a state of curiosity, was a state of imagination from somebody, from somewhere. Right? Was also a state of belief.